Welcome to the Think Factory podcast. We got one question for you. What keeps you up at night?
Hello and welcome to the Think Factory podcast, the online media news platform where we explore the latest trends and innovations in business and offer executives and thought leaders a platform to freely express their thoughts and opinions on pertinent industry, professional, and business subjects. I'm your host, Marco Gonzalez, and I'm an attorney by trade with Outside General Counsel Solutions, a contributing editor and host of The Think Factory. As a U.S. Marine Corps veteran and former aircraft structural specialist for Lockheed's Skunk Works division, I leverage my skills and experience in minimizing risk for my clients and in exploring cutting-edge technology, construction, and engineering issues for the Think Factory. We have a very special guest with us today, Colonel Antonio Martinez, U.S. Army Reserves. Welcome, Colonel.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Colonel Martinez is President and CEO of Renaissance Global Services, LLC, a program, project management, and construction management consulting firm with a concentration in federal infrastructure, pharmaceutical, life science, and environmental industries work. Colonel, thank you for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your military background, and how you joined Renaissance Global Services, and also what makes your company different from your competitors in the industry.
Absolutely. Marco, thank you for having me today. It's really an honor to be on the show and to talk a little bit about RGS. I love the company. I love what I do, so this is really a pleasure for me to do. I've got my military background. I've got 36 years in the Army right now, very close to retirement, about 10 years or so on active duty. I'm still in the Army Reserve. I started out in the infantry as an enlisted man and got commissioned after I finished college, became an infantry officer, and then transitioned over to a civil affairs officer. So it's been an amazing run. Did 2 tours in Iraq, 1 in Afghanistan, been all over Africa, gotten to see a lot of interesting things around the world, and it's really shaped my experiences and what I've done going forward. So I owe a lot to the military.
I understand that. I understand that, being a veteran myself.
Yeah.
And thank you for your service, sir.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your service. And you know what? My affiliation with Renaissance Global Services, I really owe it to the military connection. I received a phone call one day from Frank Labuti, who was the former president and CEO, who also happens to be a retired lieutenant general in the Marine Corps. 3-star Marine general. It's a big deal. He was looking for somebody to take over the company because he was interested in retiring, and he wanted another veteran to run the company so that the company could maintain its veteran status. So that's how I.
And he found you.
He found me. Yes.
Wow,
so that's how I wound up at Renaissance Global Services. And it's a good story, and I'm happy to be here. So
tell us a little bit about what the company does, for its clients on a regular basis.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a construction management, project management, safety services company. We do logistical services as well. The bulk of our clients are in the pharmaceutical sector. We do some work for the Department of Veterans Affairs, and we do some utility inspections as well. So the company started out, we're a service-disabled veteran-owned small business. It started out with the intent of going after federal work as a service-disabled veteran-owned small business, but over the years, we've grown and we've expanded into the private sector, and that's why we're in the pharmaceutical sectors now.
What makes your company different compared to your competitors?
Well, aside from the military background, one of the things that really makes a difference, and I think our clients appreciate, is when we put a project manager or an engineer or somebody on a project, it's not just a body on a site working for the client. All of our management team, we have 20, 30 plus years of experience in engineering and construction and environmental science. Anybody that's in the field that runs into a problem or runs into something they haven't seen will get that back office support from us. So we're able to support our personnel in the field with technical expertise that a lot of our competitors really can't do. Mm-hmm. And because of our background in the industry, because how long we've been in it and just the connections we have, if there's something that we can't handle as an office, we could always put them in touch with another employee on another client site who has seen what they're dealing with and help them resolve their issues. So we have that network that we can draw from. And that adds a lot of value to our clients, and our clients really do appreciate that.
And that's connected, I know, with your military-inspired project management approach,
Yes,
correct?
Absolutely. So our military-inspired project management approach, we get a lot of questions about that. And it's really pretty simple. You were in the you were in the Marine Corps, and you understand. Our military is one of the only militaries in the world that delegates down to the lowest level. Mm-hmm. We empower the lowest private to make tactical decisions because they know what the mission is. Mm-hmm. They know what the objective is. They know what they're trying to get to. And that's the type of philosophy that we try and inspire in our employees. Understand what our clients' objectives are, what their strategic goals are, mm-hmm. and then make those decisions on the spot that work towards those goals to achieve those goals. So that's what we mean by a military-inspired approach, is understand what the goal is and work toward it and be able to make decisions at the lowest level that really add value to our clients. That's
outstanding. Tell us a little bit about a recent project that makes you proud of your team at Renaissance Global.
Well, there's a few, but the one I'll talk about is really a big project. It was Bristol-Myers Squibb, which is one of our first clients. And a few years ago, they consolidated their laboratories from various states, from Massachusetts, from, I believe, Pennsylvania, some laboratories in New Jersey, and they consolidated everything in a couple of labs in New Jersey. And our team managed this entire process. And it was unique for several reasons. One, because of the amount of equipment that had to be moved and placed and set, and make sure that all the utilities and all the support services that were needed for these equipment was available. But we also moved Bristol-Myers Squibb's entire library of chemical compounds and samples, which is no easy task. And our team did this, managed this entire process, soup to nuts, and they did a really fantastic job for Bristol-Myers Squibb, all without interrupting their research operations, which is really impressive.
And I imagine you had to abide by regulatory issues and compliance and moving that stuff and making sure that they retained all their permits and all of their credentials with FDA and such, correct?
Absolutely. That was a very challenging job. Not to mention you had to deal with all the scientists, and it's just the stakeholders in there were massive. Mm-hmm. from the scientists, the engineers, to the contractor. At every site, at every level, it was really a large undertaking.
Tell us something that was a challenge for the company. In the past, something you're going through now, and how you overcame that challenge or are overcoming it now.
Yeah, so a couple of challenges. When the company first started out, I mentioned, with our service disabled veteran small business certification, the intent was to go after government work. But that was challenging, and without our background and experience in that, we really weren't getting a lot of work. So we all kind of fell back on our experience and what we knew. And that's why we wound up doing the pharmaceutical work and the utility work, because that's what our background was. So we kind of expanded into that. And then over time, the federal work came along, so we were able to stay afloat. And so that was the big challenge. How do we keep the company going if we're not getting the work that we were originally set out to do?
Right.
So we kind of just shifted gears a little bit until we started developing that new work.
Right.
And getting into the federal sector was a challenge. And one of the ways we did it was by partnering with a partner, with another company that had the experience that we were looking for, and using our certification as a service-disabled small business to create a joint venture.
What was the specific challenge in getting the federal work?
Not having the resume to go after the work that we wanted to do. We knew we could do it, but we just didn't have the background and experience. So we partnered with a company that had that experience but didn't have the certification. So between the two of us, we were able to create a joint venture that had both qualifications, the certification and the experience. And that got our foot in the door, and that got us the federal work. And now we're at a point where we don't need a joint venture anymore. We can go after the work on our own because we have the experience and we have the certification.
Fascinating. That's fascinating. I have to ask you this question because it's now mid to late April 2025. A new administration in Washington. Has the current changes in government in D.C., is it affecting your company? If so, how? And what do you see in the near future?
Yes and no. There's definitely some slowdown in the funding for new construction on the federal side, especially with the VA. Mm-hmm. So I don't see too many projects coming out, at least not as many as there were in the past in the near future. Mm-hmm. So that'll definitely be a challenge. And another thing is, as a veteran-owned business, we rely on our diversity certification, to get us work. And with the shift in winds on diversity and equity and inclusion, we still haven't seen how that's going to pan out, but we're certainly concerned. And we'll deal with that as it happens. But it's one of our concerns going forward.
I imagine as a company with such solid roots in the military, as you overcame the challenges that you described earlier, from going into veteran contracts, federal contracts to pharma, I'm sure you guys have the structure, operations in place to pivot as needed to continue your success.
Absolutely, and that's what we're going to have to do.
Right. So, Colonel, I understand congratulations are in order, as the SBA has recently recognized Renaissance Global with a prestigious award.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. We were recognized by the Small Business Administration as the subcontractor of the year on the national level.
Wow, that's great.
So we're very happy about that. We'll be going down to Washington, D.C. in a couple of weeks to receive that award from the administrator of the SBA. But we have to thank Bristol-Myers Squibb for that. That was one of our original clients. We got to work with them because of our status. And they're the ones that thought enough of us and thought highly enough of us to put us in for that award. So we really,
that's outstanding.
We're very appreciative of that. Absolutely.
Let us know. Send us some pictures so we could put it on our Think Factory website.
Absolutely,
with your interview today. We'll be honored to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. I'm sure our viewers and listeners have learned a lot about Renaissance Global today. Colonel, how can folks get in touch with you and the company if they want to know more about what you do?
Absolutely. Our website is easily accessible, www.renaissanceglobalservices.com. All our contact information is posted. We're an open door, so we're always available anytime.
Outstanding. Thank you, Colonel, and thank you, listeners, for tuning in to the Think Factory podcast. And today's guest, Colonel Antonio Martinez, President and CEO of Renaissance Global Services, LLC. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact us at thethinkfactory.com. Finally, thanks to our sponsor, Outside General Counsel Solutions. OGC Solutions becomes your virtual legal department, and we have deep experience in all areas that small and mid-cap businesses need each day. We have experienced general counsels with big law expertise who serve sophisticated global companies, and we bring that experience to our clients with fixed fees and other cost-effective engagements. You can find us and learn more at ogcsolutions.com. Until next time, this is Marco Gonzalez signing off from the Think Factory.